Welcome back to another episode. I am your host, Ryan Englin. And in today's show, Titans of the Trades, I've got Denise Grothouse. She is the founder of Perfect Six Marketing. And I love her story because she didn't just go start a marketing company. She went and built a multi-million-dollar brand in the trades and then said, hey, you know what? There's a lot here that I can share with people. So we're going to talk about all sorts of things from social media and AI to even niching in your space and the importance of building an employer brand. Like we go into a lot of different things, ton of value, ton of tips. Make sure you take some notes. I want to introduce on today's show, Denise Grothouse, the founder of Perfect Six Marketing. Denise, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Um, yeah, we were just joking that we should have just recorded our last conversation because it was
No.
so great, so value packed. I want to jump right into that. I do not want to lose any of the momentum that you and I have. But before we jump back into that conversation, can you share a little bit with our listeners who you are and what's Perfect Six?
So my name is Denise Grothouse. I am the founder of Perfect Six Marketing. I originally had started a company, Grothouse Inc., and in that development, realized marketing is my love. Like I'm one of the blessed people that found what they truly love to do. I was put on this planet to help businesses grow. So I started Perfect Six Marketing as an extension. When my clients there were saying to me, I wish I could hire someone like you. I wish I could have someone send emails like you. I wish I could. And I said, guess what? We're going to do that. So I built this company for over a decade, truly word of mouth. I didn't even advertise for it, really. And so here we are today. I have a crew of like knowledgeable people, experts in each field. So I have a web expert, social media expert, web coding, graphic design, photographers. I got the best of the best. And that's what we do. I'm not a mass agency. It wasn't my design to develop an agency just for scale and size so I could sell it. I developed this agency so that we can help businesses grow. We're very selective with our clients. We want to have long-term relationships with them. We will grow with them. Their budget can grow with them as well. And my methodology is successful. It grows businesses. I've been doing this for decades now. And I love what I do.
Well, let's talk about that for a second. So growth. I know
Yes.
I've not I'm processing right now. I don't think I've met an owner that has said, gee, I wish I didn't grow this year. I don't think I've ever heard
Yeah.
that. So they all love this idea of growth. I know that your clients, some of the case studies and everything, they report incredible amounts of growth year over year. When it comes to trade businesses, what do you think is one of those misunderstandings about marketing? One of those things that they're missing the lever that would really drive a great impact in growth? What is that thing that you see?
Uh, uh, Vulnerability. One of the things, they don't want to be vulnerable and expose their pricing. They don't want to be vulnerable and expose their employees. They don't want to be vulnerable and go into great detail about things for fear of people stealing their ideas, competitors using it, things like that. And so they end up being a little bit behind because then they, at some point in the conversation and over time, they realize that they need this. It becomes glaringly apparent. For example, one thing we were talking about, Ryan, was right now, big searches on how much does it cost to remodel a kitchen? How much does this cost? What does this cost? And historically, people don't want to put pricing on their websites. But if you want to convert that customer and find the person that can work with you, you have to do these things. Yeah.
Consumers want, we were talking about this too. I mean, this is straight up Marcus Sheridan stuff. If you've ever read his
Yeah.
stuff about, you've got to be vulnerable, you got to put this stuff out there. Consumers want to be equipped when they go into a sales meeting. And it's counterintuitive, I think, for business owners. They want to be able to equip the consumer during the sales process, but then it takes days, weeks, months sometimes to close a new customer. Whereas if the customer got equipped on their own time, then they call you and they say, I want to work with you. That's it. Like they've done all the homework. They've done all the research. They have an idea of budget. They know what your lead times are. They know
Yes.
those things up front. Oh my gosh, what that would do to your sales cycle is
Yes.
crazy.
Yes.
Oh,
1,000%. Yeah.
I'm so with you on that one. Yeah, that
Yeah.
that idea. And the other thing too is I've heard them say this. We run into this when I'm like, you need a meet the team page on your website. They're like, why? I go, because your customers want to know who they're working with and who's doing the work. And they're like, but if I put them there, recruiters are going to steal them.
Yes. Everybody, I've heard that
I go,
countless
if
times.
recruiters are going to steal them, they're not going to go to your website to pick the names and all that stuff. Those people are going to leave anyways. So
Yes.
if you're afraid that people are going to steal your employees, guess what? You have other things to work on besides
Right.
whether or not you should have a meet the team page on your website.
Yes. A
And
thousand percent.
they do. It's that fear of being vulnerable, like someone's going to take advantage.
You,
Um,
yes.
you
Yes.
over at Perfect. So we were talking about this this balance that you have to play being a marketing agency, where you have to get them enough leads so that they feel like they're able to grow revenue, but not so many leads that all of a sudden they start not paying attention to their customers and not following through on their
Yes.
projects and everything else. You have to find that balance for those people that have been through that, where they've been like, hey, I've had times where I've had so much work that my customers were mad at me because I wasn't getting back to them. uh, what have you found to be really effective in helping companies get through that growth struggle?
Well, that's why I specialize in this particular area, because I'm turnkey. I don't need you to explain to me what a Caesar stone countertop is. I don't need you to tell me that that's white oak on the floor. We already know this. These are, we're very much adding value because of our knowledge of the industry itself. So that's a huge advantage over us. The other thing, which is also another commonly overlooked thing, is staying connected with the customers that you already have gotten.
Mm,
Customer retention value is a big thing because it's easier to sell someone you've already sold to. So I hear it time and time again where I say, how do you keep in contact with the customers you've already worked with? And they say, we don't. You need to do that. You need to be reaching out to the existing customers and just connecting with them, giving them inspiration, making them aware of services that you offer they may not have been aware of. It even works for my own company. I have clients that say, I didn't know you did that. I didn't know you
yeah.
did this. Yeah.
It's so interesting because especially in the modern age with technology and AI and all these tools that are available to us, you can automate, I would
So
say,
much.
100% of the follow-up. Like, you can automate
Yes.
that process. You just have to be a little intentional, sit down and make it happen. We run into it all the time on the recruiting side, where they'll be like, "Nobody ever calls me back." I'm like, "How many times you call them?" "Once." "Well, they're busy. They're looking for a job." Like, if you wanna
Yeah.
stand out, and people ask me, "Should I call, text, email?" My answer is always yes.
Yeah.
And we're like, "Which one?" "All of them." Like, "Why do you stop?" But we get busy, but I know on the recruiting side, there are tools that can automate this. So I imagine on
Yes.
the lead gen side, there are tools that can automate this stuff.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yes, you can develop streams, text streams. A big one that I'm always a fan of is putting things in place where it's a response to a lead form that isn't an email. Oh, thank you for the email. We'll get back to you. Like, that's not good enough anymore.
Yeah.
Like, you need something far more personalized than that.
Yeah. So I know that you do a lot around the advertising space, helping them generate leads, but I also know that you're a huge advocate of public relations, earned
Yes.
media, some of these other things. Tell us a little bit about that. Like, what is this, editorial, earned media, public relations, and how does that play into helping us become a company that's really growing well?
It serves a lot of purposes. First off, let's talk about editorial uh, placement. So that's editorial placement is when a magazine writes about your company, doesn't charge you for it, like their writers are writing it, or perhaps it's content you've provided them
Mhm.
that they publish on in their editorial. Um, Not only does that widen your audience, it's effectively free advertising to their audience, whoever the publication is. Secondly, Google ranking, it inadvertently helps your website ranking. Why? Because Google has a placement, the big Bible to follow is following this guideline of EAT, EEAT, experience, expertise, authority, and trust, and um, getting placement editorial that shows you have authority on it. You have so much authority that a magazine is interested in writing on you about whatever it is you do. So it's twofold. Helps your website ranking, and it also helps expose you to that publication's audience.
Mm.
PR can be all encompassing. That can be a much larger bucket of things that is fairly in today's day and age. It's becoming unlimited PR. But a good example of how we were talking about social media earlier.
Mm-hmm.
I was at a discussion panel recently. We were talking about social media, and I talked about how that can develop into PR opportunities. And number one, for my clients, a lot of the brands we tag in the post, the manufacturer of that brand will contact us and want to use the photography and for them, right? So that's exposing our brand to their brand audience, which one of them was like KitchenAid. It's like, I don't know how
Wow.
many, I haven't looked how many followers KitchenAid has, but I assume it's a lot. It's got to be at least a 500,000, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Cafe, things like that. The other thing is, I was talking about this discussion panel was neat, was Myspace. Okay. This is how old I am.
I remember MySpace.
So, Top Chef, this goes back to my Grothouse days. Top Chef, the first season winner ever, his name was Harold Dieterle. And he won, and he wanted to open a restaurant in Manhattan. And he ultimately did. It's called Perilia. He opens it in Manhattan. He says, I read a People magazine article, and it said, I want to put wood tables in my restaurant. So I reached out to him on MySpace. I said, hey, we can make wood tables and you want wood tables. Let's talk. And we ended up doing the tables from MySpace. Fast forward a couple years, Instagram, the show Sell It Like Sirhan was looking to film in a cabinet manufacturer. They saw my clients on Instagram. The producer found them on Instagram and said, oh, let's film there. Let's reach out to them. So those are examples of things that can happen that aren't necessarily obvious front of mind, you know?
Well, and I think one of the things I run into a lot, especially with construction contractors, remodelers, is that they're really good at building things. Like that's how their brain works is like, how do I work with my hands and the tools and materials to really build something that is remarkable? But they're not always the most tech savvy. They don't have a lot of time to spend on
Mm-hmm.
tech or social media. For them, it's a little bit more of an escape. Like, oh, I'm on Facebook now. I'm going to spend time just doing my thing. I'm not going to think about work because I thought about work all day. But that's why companies like Perfect Six make so much sense.
Right.
And I
Right.
know that you work with the growing companies, especially, I mean, you can cater to the small ones and really provide what they need at any particular growth stage that they're in. So it's not that, uh, that they shouldn't be doing this stuff. It's just sometimes they don't think about it, right? Like they don't know. And one thing I've learned, especially when it comes to social media recruiting, is that not if you do that, you're kind of in a blue ocean. There's not a lot of people doing that kind of stuff.
But that's what makes it so great.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
That's why you got to work with an expertise like you and the team over at Perfect Six uh, to make that stuff happen. Now, we were talking a little bit. So I've got we actually have a client that is transitioning from a handyman group to where they're doing all of these things inside of a home, and they're going to just focus on bathroom remodeling, bathroom repair. They just want to stay in the bathroom space because uh, they know that so well. It's an expertise of theirs. They just want more of it. And we had talked about the importance of niching down and
Yes.
being really focused on things. Can you talk a little bit about that? Because I see a lot of, especially early stage entrepreneurs, they want to be everything to everyone. They don't want to say no to anybody. Talk a little bit about the importance of niching down and what, if you got any stories or thoughts of how that can be valuable to someone's business. I'd love for you to share that.
You don't even really let's niching down. It doesn't mean that they have to force to only be providing like one service, for example. Like, let's talk about this. Let's just use this bathroom as a case study. So you have a guy who's going from handyman and now he wants to focus on bathrooms, which is smart. Why? It's the largest growing segment of the home. Bathroom remodeling searches are now exceeding today, as we stand, are exceeding searches for any other room in the home. So there's a biggest demand for bathroom remodels right now. Now, you're going to set up a website. So let's say you're growing a company and you have a website. You need to have your website, all the keywords, all the content revolving around those niche things that you're going to be doing. The most amount of navigation pages, let's say 7, you can certainly build a website that's 2,000 pages if you want to, whatever. But the point is you could say, I'm going to do kitchens, basements, decks, whatever. You have primary niche items. You don't have to just focus on one, but you do have every client. I've seen this countless times. Every client model, they have one area that is always their bread and butter that they excel in. So it sounds like with this guy, bathrooms would be the bread and butter. You can't, I wouldn't recommend sticking to just handyman. Why? Because everybody thinks that's a different thing. To you, a handyman does this. To this person, a handyman does that. It's not clearly defined. You need to develop a strategy, and the strategy should be based on, in your area where you are, what do people search for over time? So when we would look at that at Perfect Six, we would say, okay, where are you? All right, you're in this city. How far do you go? We go an hour away. 60-mile radius around your city. What are people looking for? There you go. And then you sit with the owner and say, which one of these apply to you, and where are your strengths? What would you excel at? And that's where we would create that list, and that's that narrative you go through to develop.
So not only is it a good exercise to go through to figure out how you grow the business, but I imagine from an SEO perspective, an advertising perspective, even the way you deliver your service perspective, it can be easier when you're not
Sure.
everything to everyone.
You can't be everything to everyone. It's not realistic, because then you're going to be exhausted. That's what you're going to be.
Yes, yes, yes. So here's something, you've got experience. You've done this with Grothouse. You made the wood tables and the countertops, and you've grown that business to a multi-million-dollar business. And now you're here helping contractors do the same thing that you did. What's one marketing thing that most small businesses mess up that you're just like, I wish they would stop doing this? Like, what's the one thing that they hear today that they could go tell their team, we're not going to do this anymore? Or if it's easier, what's one thing they need to start doing that they're not doing?
Say, the thing that I wish they would stop doing is try to commoditize marketing. In it, saying, oh, well, if you are charging me whatever, say the number, 2,000 a month to do social media for you. Oh, well, I got this girl down the street, she'll do it for 50 a month or whatever. And it's like, you're not even talking about the same thing. So you can suffer through this $50 a month and not grow, or you can pay more from someone who's going to actually grow the business. They try to equate marketing to an expense when it's actually insurance.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you rather have insurance that if I put effort to this, it's going to reap a return?
Yeah.
It's not an expense. And do you really trust your brand to someone who's charging you $50? Or worse, Ishmael from India, who God only knows if, he's a legitimate person,
Well, I think that's the crux of this. It's that they want someone to do social media, And you can find somebody for $50 a week that'll do social media for you. But if you want the expert to do social media right so that it
Yes.
builds a brand and creates momentum for your company and brings a return on the investment in marketing, you need to hire an expert. And an
Yes.
expert is not that freelancer down that street. The expert is not the person that you're hiring a doer. Like, it's apples and oranges. And we see this happen all the time. You can write a job description on ChatGPT. I don't know if you know that, but
Yeah, I
you can
do.
write it. And we have had companies say, I don't need your help with this. I've got ChatGPT. Well, ChatGPT is not an expert.
No.
ChatGPT read a whole bunch of job descriptions that have been written poorly for the last decade and said, oh, I guess this is how you write a job description. And so it writes the same job description that millions of companies have used for over a decade that don't work. And that's not an expert, that's a doer. If you want a
Right.
job description or an ad that's going to work and actually pull in the right people, you need to work with an expert.
See, and that's a mistake a lot of people just in general are making now, is they're using ChatGPT or AI of some form to replace them from doing the work. What I use it for is to make the work I do better.
Yeah,
It's different.
absolutely. It's
Yeah.
someone told me this is like an Iron Man suit. Right. It shouldn't live on its own. It shouldn't be something where, well, it used to take me 8 hours. Now I can get it done in 15 seconds. That's different. You're not comparing the same things. It used to take you 8 hours, get that raw stuff in 15 seconds, and now spend an hour or two
Yeah.
getting good. Right.
Yes.
And that's what the Iron Man suit did for Tony Stark, right? It didn't do it
Yep.
for him. It equipped him with some tools and some things to just make him better, but he still had to
Yes.
do the work.
Yes.
And I think that's something that they're all running into. Denise, this has been awesome. I mean, I feel like we've touched on a whole bunch of different things, from niching, from the importance of this. You know that my passion is people inside of this business. And we talked about this. A lot of growth stage entrepreneurs, they struggle with, I go get the business, but then I don't have enough people to keep getting more business. So I'll just pause for a little bit. And then when I'm out of business, out of work, I'll get more work, right? Like, that's what they
Yes.
do. They play this roller coaster. And one of the things that I know you and I agree on is the employer brand is so, so important. Uh, because especially as a remodeler or any kind of service contractor, your people are your brand, because they're the ones walking into a consumer's home or their workplace and doing your work, doing the work that represents your brand. So having that employer brand is so important. And you've got a checklist. Tell us a little bit about this checklist and how our listeners can use it, but also how they can get a copy of this.
Yes. So I firmly believe that your employees absolutely have to understand what your brand is, what your company brand is. And it's in part because they execute your brand. And in tandem, they create a brand of themselves. That culture that your successful employees create is based on some commonality. So to develop a good exterior social media interaction, all of that shows customers and potential employees alike what it's like at your company, what is the culture, what type of people work there. I developed a checklist that you can ask your employees to fill out, and it will help you understand the brand of your company and what commonalities that you see when they complete this checklist to develop your campaigns for forward-facing promotions of any given in kind. A good example of, I had a very close-knit company at Grothouse. The employees were really very team motivated. And we had one time a major healthcare increase. And I was like, I don't know what to do, because we had young employees, old employees. Which plan do they want? We had to switch plans. And I went around and I'm like, which plan do you want? Which plan? Like, I thought in my mind that was the most important thing. And they're like, we kind of don't care, but we want a 401k. Okay. And I would have never known that if I hadn't been proactively going around and asking them specific information. And this wasn't, this was a company, we had picnics, lunches, all kinds of Christmas parties. We were together a lot. And I'm like, how could I possibly have missed that? So it makes me want to impress that on the business owners where you say, "Oh, I'm with them all the time. I know." No, well, I didn't. I thought the same thing, and I made a big mistake. So here's a checklist, and you should take the time to go over it with your employees because you'll get to find out what kind of people they are and why is it a good thing. It's a good thing because then you'll avoid hiring the wrong people. Because I've already been in situations where you hire the wrong people and it upsets the whole apple cart. And so avoid hiring the wrong person and make sure you hit on the things that the employees do like and need and qualities that they have. What makes them feel like they had a great day at work? Was it just punching the 8 hours, or was it the satisfaction of a job well done, or growing the company, or helping your coworkers, or were you just glad that no one bugged you and you got to write programs all day? Whatever that is, there is no right or wrong answers here,
Yeah.
really.
Yeah. So how do they get a copy of that list?
Oh, you can text me at 484-553-0754 and just text me, say you saw me on Ryan's show, Core Matters, and we'll send it to you.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you so much for being on the show. And if you haven't, you didn't mention this, but how do they find your website if they want to learn more about what your services are and what you can help them with?
Yes. So we're a full service marketing agency. We handle all aspects. We typically have a monthly contract that we sign with people, and then anything accessory they need ongoing, we can manage that as well. The company is Perfect Six Marketing, and the website is perfect6marketing.com, spelled SIX, perfect six, not the number. It's spelled out. And or you can give us a call at 484-553-0754 to find out more. Happy to
Nice.
help.
Denise, thank you so much for being on the show today and all of the wisdom and nuggets that you shared with our
Yeah,
listeners. I've got notes here, and I'm sure they do as well. So thank you so much for being on the show.
thank you. Thanks for having me.